Hello and good afternoon, my friends. My name is Plains, and today I want to talk about something in StarMade. And that is why I think power supply beams need to be fixed, as in my understanding they are broken. So let me go into detail about this and why I think that and why I found it out. I was developing a new ship as the core and, well, basically just the base structure and interior of it you see is this green blob there. And as you're all probably aware is, StarMade has a soft cap for power. Usually you reach the soft cap for power at around 1.2 million power generation. The soft cap means, well, power generation StarMade goes via two ways. One is every power block that is placed. These here, the power reactor modules, supply a base power value and also add a bonus power value. The base power value is regardless of how many blocks there are. Is always 25 per block. So every 40,000 blocks you place, you gain roughly 1 million power by just placing blocks. So 4,000 mass per 1 million blocks. The other power generation is by grouping them in groups and gaining dimensionality, which is length, height, and width, like this. Also gives you bonus. You can call it something like adjacency bonus, maybe. And this is bonus power. This is capped at 1 million. The amount of power blocks you need to reach the power cap of 1 million typically makes you, in the end, generating 1.2 million, but yeah. And I found this pretty annoying. Although I kind of see why this needs to be in the game, as this prevents you from building absolutely fucking huge ships. And I mean what I say. So, as I want to build myself a big ship, which is decently power efficient and mass efficient, I looked into ways around that. And previously, you just slapped on power generation devices like this one, and you added a butt load of power drain beams. Which are these here that I'm currently firing, if you can see it. Which are these here? Doesn't look too bad, does it? As somewhere along the line between update 0.15 and 0.16, docking protection was introduced. So, having power drain beams in your main ship and draining the power of docked entities no longer works. So I went and looked at power supply beams and thought, we have logic now, so we can turn the stuff on and off with logic. Why don't I just use logic for this? It seemed pretty sensible. So I went and researched it, and it kind of seemed to work. Until it all fell apart when I placed my first... when I placed my big power module, and it kind of looked something like... Just imagine, instead of the 2 ones firing, there were 2,000 ones firing. And if you look at the energy consumption down here, where my mouse is, you'll see the energy consumption goes up by roughly 60. And I had about 10,000 blocks placed. I fired and my energy consumption went up by 60. And I was like, how the hell am I going to supply 1 million power from a docked entity to the main ship? I can't. I started looking into things. So, we just fired group number 2. Group number 2 is... Sorry, group number 1 we just fired. Group number 1 is one group of 2 power supply modules. And has the following stats. Drain means it supplies 40 to the ship that the beam is aimed at, and it consumes around 60 power in the progress with a speed of 0.1, whatever that means. There is no armor efficiency, nothing, since this is incompatible with power supply and power drain beams. These effects. Next thing I did is what about small groups? So the representation of this is group number 2. Lots of groups of 1. And you see similar stats greeters. But this time twice, as we have one group of 2 groups of 1. So power supply beams do not have any merits whatsoever being grouped in bigger groups. The most efficient setup for a power supply beam is like it was with cannons before update 0.15. Just slap on a big load of groups of 1 and your DPS is singingly high and your power consumption is singingly low. Brilliant, isn't it? And this is the problem I found. Also, I've did math and I figured out that to supply roughly 1 million power that my docked entity generator produces, I would need, with this base setup, to use 16,000 blocks, and thereof 16,000 beams. 16,000 beams means a shitload of stress on the server. So much that probably every server is going to crash from me using this. Well, and I was really, really pissed. Maybe you noticed by my wording, as I'm usually not swearing and stuff. I went on to do further research. I thought like, there must be a way to get this working, as I have faith in the devs of this game that they make a proper game, so they must have implemented at least something so that this is possible. And I looked, maybe coupling it with stuff like the cannon, since cannons increase hit speeds and stuff, maybe this increases the drain and stuff. But no. 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 Cannons make it even worse. Although, yeah, no. Oh, well, how about missiles? Nah. But hey, it seems that they at least do stuff, but no. Then maybe damage beams? Oh, we have more range, but no. How about damage pulses? Yes, this looks much better. And this increases the efficiency by 20 times, which means instead of 16,000 blocks, I only need 8,000. Sorry, 800. Which still is a very big strain on the server, but at least something. And for the generator, I went by this route. Now, frankly speaking, the generator produces 820,000 power. Therefore, there's roughly has 600. This has 625 beams, and when I fire it, looks somewhat like this. And as you can imagine, having 625 beams really slows down a server. As you see, my frame rate dropped from somewhere around in the 40s to 13, 11, 10. So this really is going to grind servers to a halt. But this could, and this is the problem, if you were to make power supply beams a little bit like cannons, so that even if you reduce the overall efficiency a bit, make it scale with the size of the group, then there's no problem. You can just make the group big and it won't produce any lag and whatever. But since it doesn't do that, maybe it's a bug, yeah, we have this problem. Now, I myself could change the problem. Let me show you. So, here we are. As you see, we are currently in the block behavior config in StarMade. And if I change stuff around in there, this will change how my client single player performs, but not servers. And for the basic behavior of the blocks, you need to look here. As you see, this is the supply per hit, which is 40, power consumption, which is 60. The distance I could increase to something like, I don't know that, and it'll go miles and miles through sectors and sectors. And this is the number where where it gets problematic. Cannons are different, so this is the difference for cannons. You see, they have a base value, and they have a block count, and you see, and stuff, so they go by a block count of group, which power supply stuff, and basically the shield beams and every supply or drain beam does not. Well, salvage beams kinda do, but they have a cap, so it kind of, every one of the miscellaneous beams, the salvage, the supply and the drain beams, kind of do have a limitation put on them, or whatever. And this makes them nearly unusable for any purpose. This could be easily changed. Problem is, they don't scale with group size. That means, like cannons before the big update, where lots of things were changed, the smallest group and the most of them is the most effective. And like that, it absolutely will wreck any server if you are going to use them in large scales as power drains or power supplies for fleets or tactical use and fighting and stuff. And therefore, I greatly feel as it is absolutely mandatory necessary to put in some way of scaling with group size. Maybe make it like the guns. Let it scale linearly. I wouldn't care. Or don't. But there needs to be something like that. I guess that's the gist of that. Thanks for keeping with me. And yeah. Thanks for watching. Please, if you've watched this video and you care about StarMade, post this around forums or bring this to the attentions of the developers in a nice way, so that this gets addressed. Rate, comment, like, subscribe. I don't care. Thanks for watching and bye bye.